According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, there are over 19,000 species currently threatened with extinction, and the problem is only getting worse. Welcome to Ms. Mojo, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 ways to help endangered species.
There's nothing wrong with enjoying the fruits of nature. You should try it sometime.
Alrighty then. You know something? You're right.
For this list, we've looked at the best ways to protect endangered animals and to preserve their existence.
It's a long process.
Number 10. Increase our knowledge. Let's begin with the basics, as a little knowledge can go a long way.
This is a rare opportunity to study an endangered species.
The IUCN's Red List shows an upward trend in the number of endangered animals since it was first released on the World Wide Web in the year 2000. 1 in 4 mammals, 1 in 8 birds, 1/3 of all amphibians, and around 70% of the world's plant life are reportedly under significant threat of extinction. And while statistics differ depending on the source, the numbers routinely make for harsher reading every year. By taking an interest in the problem, you begin to help solve it. And you don't have to tackle the whole world's issues either. Check out local initiatives to make a difference closer to home.
Get out of the way, kid!
You want to bury those owls, you gotta bury me too.
Number 9. Reduce the threat of invasive species. An invasive species is any non-native plant or animal entering into an environment and unbalancing it in some way.
Fish are behaving in a way that we're not used to. They're doing things to the ecosystem that we're not completely sure what kind of effect there's going to be yet.
The problem, which is commonly caused by mistakes in international trade and transport, sees foreign species disrupt settled ecosystems either as an unwanted predator, by spreading disease, or by simply outnumbering other species over time.
You've heard of the pine beetle problem? Those pine beetles used to be killed by the cold winters, but there are fewer days of frost, and so the pine trees are being devastated.
Intentional actions can also cause an invasion, such as in 1930s Australia when cane toads were introduced to control the cane beetle, only to see the toads overrun the country itself.
We got a total of 34 females out of the system versus 26 males, which means, it's less eggs, particularly for the fully matured toads.
The problem naturally becomes increasingly difficult to manage, but by tightening transport procedures and safety measures, some invasions can be avoided.
You make it sound like we're under attack everywhere.
We are under attack everywhere.
Number 8. Raise awareness. It's amazing what a little word of mouth can achieve, and one of the best ways to help endangered species is to keep talking about them. If you know about an animal's plight or the worrying status of a tree species, then impart your wisdom onto others. It doesn't have to be much, and you don't necessarily need to be collecting donations. Just spread the word.
Well, I'm terribly sorry, but it's against our creed to do harm to any living creature. Our mission is to help endangered species.
Of course, the onus is on the authorities as well, to ensure that endangered animals is a topic regularly covered in school, and that animal protection laws are clear and routinely brought up in government. Number 7. Say no to pesticides and chemical fertilizers.
We have some scientific evidence now showing that there is a clear relationship between insecticides and bee losses.
The temptation to use herbicides and pesticides in the agricultural industry is huge, to the point where many growers see it as a necessity.
A key issue for him will be how to maximize his yield and minimize his losses to pests.
While herbicides ensure that no unwanted vegetation grows on or near a crop, pesticides ensure that unwanted critters aren't eating it. The use of chemicals on farmland is subject to a wide range of laws all around the world, and some substances are deemed less harmful than others.
Those that were exposed to both pesticides consistently performed the most poorly in all of our measures.
But their toxins pose an everyday risk to ecosystems, and sometimes to us as consumers.
Nearly all the teas we test have pesticide residue, half of them with amounts exceeding maximum levels set in Canada.
Where possible, try to eat organically farmed produce. It may cost a little extra and sometimes look a little strange, but it's way better for the environment. Number 6. Recycle.
We gotta learn to reduce, reuse, recycle. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Louder.
According to Endangered Species International, we use around 260 million tons of plastic annually. Plastic accounts for around 60 to 80% of marine debris, and some plastics remain in the environment for hundreds of years. Animals injure themselves on our trash every day, or unknowingly ingest it, and floating plastics can even be linked to the spread of invasive species mentioned earlier. At the very least, don't litter.
Hey, schmuckface.
You want to tell me what you're doing? Littering on my street?
but recycling is one of the simplest things you can do to help the environment.
But almost anything can be recycled that can be broken down into a single material.
If more people recycled, fewer products would be needed, less energy would be used making those products, less space and fuel would be required, and fewer animals would be displaced. It's a chain reaction, and you can play your part by reusing and recycling.
You see, humans and animals can live in harmony.
Number 5. Build a wildlife garden.
And even making your own mulch and greening up your decking, which basically means planting plants across areas where there isn't planting.
This one is achievable on a large or small scale. In an ideal world, we'd all like to plant swaths of new trees, which would be great, but not always possible. However, what is possible for anyone with a little spare space is a wildlife garden. The UK Wildlife Trust estimates that there are 16 million gardens in Great Britain. If every one of those provided a service to the natural world, think how beneficial it could be. Replace stark fences with lush hedges, build a pond to attract insects, provide higher ledges to attract birds, and hold back on the weed killer. Then sit back and watch nature thrive outside your window.
Creating little mini habitats around your garden and enriching it with flowers for bees and butterflies and burying plants and shrubs for birds.
Number 4. Volunteer at a wildlife agency.
RSPCA, for all creatures, great and small.
There are plenty of admirable projects going on all over the world that need your services, but you don't always need to be on far-flung front lines saving orangutans in Borneo to make a difference. Wildlife agencies and initiatives require help and support at all stages. The UK's Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, or RSPCA, relies on volunteer administrators, drivers, photographers, and public speakers just as much as those who help directly with animal care. It's also the oldest and largest organization of its kind. By volunteering at a wildlife agency, not only are you helping to protect endangered species, but you're also developing yourself as an individual. It's win-win.
This is definitely the most satisfying part, and the bit I enjoy the most, so this makes it all worthwhile, really.
Number 3. Set up a sponsorship and make donations to charity. Here's where you can help endangered species and have a lot of fun at the same time.
Why would you do that?
Well, it's a charity thing. No.
Sponsorships are a great way for people to raise funds without causing too much disruption to their daily lives. And there's usually 2 main ways of getting noticed and getting donations. Either do something that's really difficult or something that's really crazy. Run a marathon, or wear your clothes backwards for a week.
Your shirt's inside out.
What?
Your shirt, it's inside out.
Climb a mountain or cut off all your hair. But be sure to keep the focus on the cause.
We're gonna have to raise money fast. I'll drum up small-scale stunt work at birthday parties. We're talking escape tricks, fire breathing, anything to please the rugrat.
It's not about you, it's about rebuilding animals' lives and restoring habitats across the world. Number 2. Stop purchasing products made from endangered animals.
To figure out how we got here, we have to turn back the clock to the 1970s and 80s, when the demand for ivory first skyrocketed.
This may seem a little obvious, but illegal trade is an ongoing international problem.
Basically, for wildlife criminals, the tiger is worth more dead than alive, broken down into all its body parts, packaged, shipped and sold into different component commodities.
And sometimes the legislation gets confusing between one nation and another. The World Wildlife Fund has a buyer beware guide, on which it implores tourists not to buy ivory, either raw or carved, any tiger, rhino, or sea turtle product, or any live monkey or ape, among other things. The list also advises against purchasing crocodile or snakeskin products, live birds, wild feathers, and orchids. Common sense rules to a certain degree though. If it looks as though a plant or animal may have been needlessly killed to make it, then don't buy it. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
Ryan, look out!
You buy a cat?
Yep, I'm very excited.
You seem it, so what's all this? I'm assuming there's nothing left in the store.
Actually, there are a number of things left.
No, I meant you seem to be buying a lot of stuff.
Number 1. Enjoy a low-impact diet. We may sometimes feel a little insignificant and wonder what we can really do to help an endangered species so far removed from our everyday lives. But change really does begin at home.
Todd, would you like some mixed vegetables?
Hell no.
What did you say?
I said I don't want any damn vegetables.
All right, that's it, young man.
We all eat every single day, and we can make a difference with our diets. Use natural products in meals. and try to source them locally. Stop wasting food, and cook in one pan using as little energy as possible. Grow an herb garden of your own, and support local businesses rather than big, often unreliable brands. There are few things more satisfying than a meal that you know has had minimal impact on the environment, on the natural world, and on endangered species.
She can have vegetables and fruits.
So, she can eat fruit?
Fruits, yeah.
Any kind of fruit?
Do you agree with our list? How else can we help endangered species?
Say hello to my stinky little friend!
For more crucial Top 10s published daily, be sure to subscribe to Ms. Mojo.
That makes 3 of us.
We will not let you kill these owls.